This video is brought to you by Ridge, the best wallet you'll ever own. Also, the video is available ad-free in an audio podcast form on locals.com, which is not an adult hookup platform, by the way. It's a Patreon alternative. Everyone always comments about how the name sounds. You can support the channel there if you want to, or my entire content library is up on Odyssey, which is a YouTube platform alternative for anyone who wants to check out something new. Links are down below in the description. All right, cue up all the accusations of melodrama and hyperbole, but honestly I don't really care because I got to the point where I can't defend CD Projekt Red or Cyberpunk 2077 anymore right now. I just can't do it. This has happened for a number of reasons, but the largest one I'll talk about today, which I haven't discussed yet in a different video, is the save file corruption on PC. And to make it all that much worse, I might have literally pushed people into an activity with my tips and tricks guide, which makes it more likely that their file will become unusable. I'm considering pulling it down, not sure how to go about this though, because I don't know for certain if that's one of the things that will screw people over. I think it is, but I'm not positive. But the fact I'm even in a position where this has become an issue, yeah, I'm done defending Cyberpunk. So what's the problem? Pretty simple. If PC saves exceed 8 megabytes in file size, they get corrupted and become unplayable. This happens for a number of different reasons, but is primarily related to game time and number of activities done, as well as crafting, most importantly. The game has a rather large crafting system, and that system is completely broken. Some people call it an exploit, even though it's not. Other people just call it shitty design, but the reality is every item that you craft, even possibly every item you pick up or dismantle, will permanently add to your save file size, and the values attached to these crafted items are so asinine, it completely shatters the game's economy. I'm talking about dismantling a soda for 3 significantly more valuable components and also just being able to buy one for 10 eddies or currency or whatever and then dismantle it for a relative value worth of 24, right? So this is just an ongoing issue. Or like crafting a purple grenade for 1 green item initially and getting back numerous high-tiered materials that are worth far more money and have much more utility. The fundamental value spreadsheet here never existed. Items are able to be constructed for too few materials and dismantled for too many. If you get the right crafting perks, you can just get crazy strong guns and also get items for free 20% of the time while deconstructing into an infinite cycle of more and more legendary or epic parts. Not enough? There are probably a half dozen or more crafting and duplication exploits which are actually exploitative, unlike just the broken value economy, and will lead to an increased file size, which allows the player to just multiply whatever item they choose. And that's just the start, because exploits and broken value equations, that's fine by itself. Point is, not only does your save file naturally increase in size as you play and do the missions and explore the open world, it is also kicked into overdrive because of the most efficient and accessible ways to gain materials. Materials necessary for build progression, testing, personal advancement, or just finding new cool things to enjoy. And all of it basically contributes to a countdown where the ending result is your game being broken. Now, as a side note, I just kind of want to appreciate the torturous hilarity of all this, because Cyberpunk is a game that not only puts you on a doomsday clock in-game, even though that is relatively false in terms of severity, it puts you on a real-world doomsday clock for your save file as well. Screw around too much before finishing the story, craft too much, use exploits, or who even knows all the other ways to dial up your save file size, and your game just dies. Your save becomes unusable and unplayable, and you have to either lose huge amounts of progress and not utilize the crafting system, or start over completely. There's a twisted sense of accuracy here, where the physical and digital worlds thematically overlap. It sucks, but in a way it's kind of funny. Do I have your attention? Are you listening closely? Do you see that in the distance? It's a Ridge wallet. Your old, virgin, fat wallet can't compare to the sleek, the industrial, the Chad Ridge wallet. Room for 12 cards plus cash, unique styles, guaranteed for life. Try it for free, send it back if you aren't satisfied. A wallet with more 5-star reviews than almost anything else I've ever seen in my entire life, and you can buy one today. Free worldwide shipping, 10% off. What code? That's right. Code Upper Echelon. Link down below. Again, say it with me. Free worldwide shipping, 10% off. Code Upper Echelon, and a link down below in the description. The ultimate wallet for the ultimate viewer of the ultimate channel, talking about the ultimate topics with the ultimate everything. Ultimate. Tremendous. Yes. Anyways, Cyberpunk 2077 is a game I've defended staunchly and praised for its narrative component. I still think those things. That's true. I still believe that the game has the bones of something great and will become immortal in the end, truly deserving of your time. Eventually. But at some point, we all have to stop making excuses in order to see the game for what it really is right now. The problem is, some of these issues take time to come out, some of the worst ones, in fact. When you start playing the game from the beginning, your save file is very, very small. It may take dozens, even hundreds of hours to get it to a larger file size. But when that time comes, in this case after a week or 3 or whatever it may be, your entire playthrough gets bricked. Now, this whole issue is made exponentially more severe by the way the game was marketed and sold. This is a title that was portrayed as the largest, most ambitious, most intense open world in all of history. There was a QA developer pre-launch who played some, 175 hours, something like that, of the title before release, and still, quote, had not done everything, end quote. And I would be willing to bet right now, after understanding what the game really is, that his time was spent playing this game in the most casual, menial, and slowly progressing method imaginable, because that hour mark is just not conceivably possible for anyone who is actually utilizing the existing game's economy and not just spending 120 hours AFK. To test this for myself, I took one of my most advanced saves, the one where I've beaten the game and then proceeded to find and craft as many iconic weapons as I can, and also tried to get huge amounts of cyberware to make really cool builds, and I crafted a bunch, and it broke. That's fine, at least for me, because I've already done it played enough to a point where I don't actually have anything else that needs to be done on that save file and can't be done with a different one. But this will lock certain players out of their story, and it will force people to restart. Here's the kicker. On the game's official forum page, an official moderator has been responding to this issue, except they aren't responding in a way where it would make corporate sense, like, please open a support ticket, or yes, we are aware and still working on the issue, or something like that, some kind of cookie-cutter corporate response. They are responding by saying things like the following, quote, no, but stop loading saved games. First, back up all your save files by copying them to a folder on your desktop or something, then do a verify/repair of the game. After that, try loading. If it still doesn't work, erase the corrupted saves and replace them with the backups. Keep doing this as you troubleshoot, right? He's like telling individual players to troubleshoot and fix this for themselves. I don't know. We'll see. It gets worse. It can often be the loading process, not the saving process, that borks a save, end quote. That might seem okay and like a possible workaround, but they sorta kept going. Quote, not all games are designed for unlimited endless play. Not all games are designed for new game plus, etc. No one, that's not on the table. Cyberpunk 2077, as of now, seems to have been designed with upper limits in place, likely to avoid issues elsewhere in the engine, just like The Witcher 3. The workaround for now? Don't do it. Play the game until the end, then start a new game. Don't continue saving and reloading the same character for too long. Don't craft thousands of items at once. Is that ideal? No, and hopefully it can be worked out in the future, although maybe not. No game that CDPR has ever created has ever been designed for ongoing unlimited play. New Game Plus was added into The Witcher 3 after its release. It was never intended. It was extremely difficult to get working without major issues. Is capped at level 100, still gets wildly weird at higher levels, and there's no New Game Plus Plus. It can only be done once per playthrough. CDPR designs their games with a finite structure, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. They are not meant to be played on and on like Dark Souls, GTA, or an MMO. They're meant to be restarted from the beginning with a new character and played differently. Love it or loathe it, that's the design. So for right now, the best step is to not put the game in this sort of situation. It's the nature of the machine, or more classically, patient. Doctor, it really hurts when I do this. Doctor, then don't do that. End quote. Let's unpack this, really unpack it. Help, please. The game you advertised as the most ambitious and high-quality open-world title ever designed, with tons of replayability, tons of extra decisions, and a shit ton of content, where you said the QA developer has 175 hours and hasn't even done everything yet, where you made an entire crafting economy with different rarities and huge component requirements in order to upgrade through the levels when you find iconic and preferable weapons with massive build potential, requiring many different guns and cyberware and tons of money. It breaks when I play it too much. And then, fundamentally, the response. Oh, I see, yeah. Here's your solution. Don't play it as much. Don't play how you want to. Don't even use the systems that we made. Just get over it and start fresh to try again, because it's so goddamn broken that on average, after maybe possibly around 80 to 90 hours, half of what the supposed developer had already played, and even less if you craft a bunch of loot and a bunch of other stuff, I don't know, it will break your save file forever. An official moderator on the Cyberpunk 2077 forums is saying this. I can't stress this enough, okay? The defenders of this game, when the game literally breaks down completely and destroys the save files for its player base, say things like, quote, "It's best not to put the game in that position." And I'm mind blown by this. Literally, don't put the game in that position where it's expected to do what it was made to do and what it was advertised to do and marketed to do, because it will break. Your fault, stupid gamer. Don't try to reload saves and play everything and complete all the content. Start over like a good little fanboy. Don't use the crafting. Don't try and make a bunch of money. Don't try and play this a lot. Start over. I get super annoyed now when I watch this community, like really, really annoyed. There are things about this game that are great and should be staunchly defended. But what I see is not rational defense. It's brain dead fanboy fanaticism that is so unbelievably short-sighted and obnoxious. I find it personally increasingly difficult to even defend the things that should be defended because of them. All I want to do is play, okay? That's true. And make functional builds. It's fair to say that no matter what build it really does. Okay, honestly, every single build in the game, it doesn't matter because the difficulty balancing and health values and everything else are so botched that anything can one-shot, and even a broken ass composition is going to steamroll through the content. That's just true. It's completely true. But I love playing regardless, and I want to keep going. But without jumping through numerous extra hoops to fix the broken shit that was sold to me, I simply can't. And even if I do jump through those hoops, it might not even matter. The crafting system doesn't have a mass craft option, leaving you to do every single thing individually. There is no comprehensive inventory management system like mass deconstruction or a favorites toggle, and all of these lapses force you into a loop of activity if you're going to engage with that entire section of the game that raises your save file size on a slippery slope to oblivion. Why do I care so much? Well, the game is so busted on PS4, it got pulled from Sony's store. That's already big. I'm not going to rehash that or do another entire section on it. But it just further compresses the currently playable market towards PC. Best Buy is offering refunds, no questions asked, through the 21st. Microsoft expanded their refund policy as well. And all of it ties back into the game's pinnacle utility on PC. It's playable on next-gen PS5 and Xbox Series X systems, yes, but the current global scarcity of these platforms make it an incredibly small section of the player base. Like it or not, PC is the primary right now, where it's supposed to be okay and in working condition, and, well, my experience is fine. That's what you just keep hearing from people. So I could say that. My experience was pretty much fine, compared especially to people on base console. Like, I could say that too. I'm on the PC platform. But that's like the pinnacle of where the game is supposed to be good at the moment. That's the platform where the game can just flat out break your save, though. That's the platform where playing too much is what you shouldn't do, even though it's the only platform where it really kind of works okay. You see where I'm going with this? After the existing systems basically just shoehorn you into making more and more and more likely decisions that will cause that. The more content you want to play, the more likely it is to break. Let alone if you actually use the myriad of like legitimate exploits and bugs, not just the stuff that was flat out put in as trade, crafting, or deconstruction values with no thought towards the economic impact. I can't defend this game anymore. I'm still having fun, all right? I just want to make that clear. But personal fun is not directly connected in any way to one's ability to rationally look at what the game itself really is, at least currently. The narrative is good. The bare bones are pretty much there. But this has no business being released in its current state. I had a hard time with the cut content, okay? I did. There were scenes on subways and in the trailers. There were claims of corrupt police and wanted systems where you could bribe your way out. None of those exist. The CEO saying it runs surprisingly well on console, or the conference call, I think it was in January, where they said, the game is basically done. We just need to polish it. I had a really hard time with the GOG capitulation to Chinese market pressure, and especially with the shady, downright malicious review process where they barred anyone from showing their own gameplay. That was absurd. And then restricted the entire thing to PC to deliberately hide the bad performance of the console platform. And now it's pulled from the Sony store. Like, they're reaping what they sowed there. But I think this is what broke me. I still had a few more things I wanted to do. Like, I'm not finished with the entire game yet. I've done so much time crafting and min-maxing and looking for builds. I was using one main character for all of my builds and wasn't yet done with my hacker version especially. I had been doing a ton of crafting because getting to legendary quick hacks with legendary mods and all the other complementing cyberware took tons of money and currency and resources, all sorts of stuff. Like, it just took crafting components, everything. And I still hadn't broken my save file, okay? That is worth mentioning. But it turns out I was damn close, and it was easy to do by going back in and spamming a few more crafting sessions. I can back up my saves now and do a branching pathway of sorts from the point I'm at where I can compensate for this problem and still do all the things I want to do. But not everyone will see this coming, and not everyone will be able to solve it especially. And this will ruin certain players' experiences in an unacceptable way. They advertise this game as being the largest, most immersive, and most incredible living open world possible, filled with content. And now, playing that content can just wreck your game on PC, which is the primary platform, and everything else is botched. At a certain point, you will have to be done defending them. I don't care how much you've imprinted on the title and assigned it as a core function of your own identity and humanity. I don't care how much you internalize criticism of this game as criticism of yourself. If you really want to do that, then fine, because that makes you an extremely flawed person, because this game is an extremely flawed game. All right, sorry, this is a bit of a tangent. I don't care how much your audience expects you to defend it. If your entire channel identity or journalistic credibility is all predicated on that, or even just ripping on it, because there's stuff to defend about it. It's a nuanced two-sided coin here. And I especially don't care how much the fanboys will still just inevitably ignore everything and attack, always. Try and shut down anyone who ever says anything critical, like always. It just has to be said that this game has too many flaws right now. And personally, I can no longer step up to the plate, and I will no longer defend CD Projekt Red. That ship sailed. That's it for today. Just beware of the save issue on PC. If you want to support, there's links down below. All sorts of stuff. Odyssey, locals, social media links, another YouTuber to check out if you want to support someone else, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I'll cut it there and stop. Also Ridge. 10% off. Ridge. Link down below. Yeah, cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching and have a nice night.